Hawaii official reportedly delayed releasing water critical to battling the devastating wildfires.
President Joe Biden and the First Lady set to be in Maui today to visit the devastation from wildfires there firsthand.
As the number of fatalities grow in Hawaii, so do the questions, like how something like this could happen in the first place.
As the fires rage on the Hawaiian island of Maui, this is what one of the locals have to say.
Okay, I gotta tell you guys, I am so frustrated with investors and realtors calling the families who lost their home, offering to buy their land. How dare you do that to our community right now? This is some pilau heva shit happening right now. I am so frustrated hearing since yesterday that multiple families that I know personally were reached out and offered money from investors and realtors. Shame on you. There's a lot of real estate speculation happening right now that is really frustrating, and I just want to remind all you real estate investors around the world, like, Lahaina is not for sale. Please don't reach out to these families and take advantage of them during the most devastating time of our lives.
The fire started on August 8, 2023, and it's been one of the worst disasters to hit the island in modern history. At least 114 people are dead, with another 850 still missing. But this story is far more than just a natural disaster gone wrong. See, Hawaii has always been a contentious US state. Stolen from the native Hawaiians, Hawaii has always had a lot of tension between the natives and the Americans. And this story is no different. See, Maui is home to many powerful names. Jeff Bezos owns a $78 million home on Maui, Larry Ellison of Oracle owns 98% of the island of Lanai, Oprah owns land on Maui near the fires, and many, many more. And yet, you've barely heard a peep out of any of these people. The story of the Hawaii fires is a story of cover-ups, corporate greed, terrible mismanagement, vultures trying to swoop in and buy up all this burnt-up real estate for pennies on the dollar, and maybe even arson. Stay dangerous, and this is why they want Hawaii to burn. You want to know what's harder than buying a holiday home in Hawaii? Keeping track of all the recurring subscriptions you pay for, which is why I use today's sponsor, Rocket Money. Rocket Money is an all-in-one finance platform that helps you save more and spend less. This personal finance app allows you to manage subscriptions, lower bills, build a custom budget, and grow your savings all in one place. For me, I love using Rocket Money to view all the subscriptions I have in one place so I can cancel the ones I no longer need. My other favorite feature is that you can upload or connect your bills, and their negotiators will go to work to lower your bills for you. To save more and spend less, join the 3.4 million members using Rocket Money today. I've got the hookup. Go to rocketmoney.com/Jake or click the link below to get started for free. You can also unlock even more features with Premium. That's rocketmoney.com/Jake to get started for free. On the afternoon of August 8, 2023, a fire started near the town of Lahaina in Maui. Fueled by dry grass and powerful gusts of winds caused by Hurricane Dora, and the fire quickly spread. Within less than 15 minutes, it had reached the town, leaving nothing but destruction in its wake. People ran for their lives. Some even dove into the ocean to escape the flames. Thousands of houses were burned to the ground, and more than 100 people died. For weeks before the fire started, the island had been very hot and dry. With grass, soil, and trees drying up, it was the perfect conditions for a fire. Everyone had been told to be extra careful and to avoid anything that could start a fire. So if the whole island was on alert, then the number one question on everyone's mind is who started it? Who was responsible for one of the most devastating wildfires in US history? According to official sources, no cause has been found yet. But that's not really true, because one company seems to be trying to play down how big of a role they played in the fires.
August 7th at 10:47 p.m., a day earlier, you hear a witness describe a flash that might be a tree falling on a power line.
It's windy, and then there's a flash, and I think that's when a tree's falling on a power line. The power goes out.
One expert saying those videos taken in upcountry Maui show the flames spreading and may be the first evidence of downed power lines igniting a fire.
Oh, this is live right across the street from my house. Freaking power line just went down. I hear a pop coming from across the street. As soon as I hear the pop, all I heard is like electrical, like this is going on the ground there. Look, there's the power line right there. See them right there, that's the power line that started from up the road there. and all of that is still burning.
In Hawaii, less than 1% of fires start due to natural causes. Yes, that is right, 99% of fires in Hawaii are caused by humans, and the Maui fires are no different. So who did it? One suspect is Hawaiian Electric, the biggest utility company in Maui. As far back as 2019, Hawaiian Electric had known about the danger posed by its power lines falling or emitting sparks during the dry, windy season. Old power lines or power lines near trees are one of the biggest risks during big storms. One spark or even just a falling branch can set fire to dry grass in seconds. To keep that from happening, Hawaiian Electric would need to trim all the trees near the power lines across the islands. They would also have to reinforce their power lines and poles to resist strong winds. The company estimated that this kind of overhaul of its power lines would cost at least $190 million, money that would probably have to come out of its own pockets. And if there's anything that big business hates, it's spending their hard-earned money on useless stuff like safety. Safety isn't gonna improve revenue, it's not gonna boost their profit margins, so if the people of Maui wanted to make these improvements so badly, the money would have to come out of them, which meant Hawaiian Electric would have to raise its electricity rates. It would take Hawaiian Electric 3 years to commit to making these improvements. In 2022, it finally asked state regulators to allow it to raise rates to fund the $190 million it needed. That request is still pending to this day, while Maui is burning to the ground. You see, Hawaiian Electric knew just how big of a risk they were taking by putting off the maintenance they knew they needed. But that is not even where the bad choices end. One of the company's main safety features is a public power shutoff plan that lets them turn off all the electricity during a severe storm. That way, if power lines did fall, there would be no way it would cause a fire. But during this storm, they never shut off the electricity. According to the company, they didn't want to turn off the power because electricity was needed to pump water to fire trucks. But you wouldn't even need water in fire trucks if there were no fires in the first place. Instead, the real reason they didn't want to turn off the power was because they were afraid of public backlash. They didn't want the bad publicity or to lose money. After all, getting your electricity voluntarily turned off in the middle of a storm isn't gonna feel very good. You're gonna be pissed off at that utility company. And so on August 7 and 8, Hawaiian Electric power lines caused fires in 2 different areas near Lahaina.
August 7th at 10:47 p.m., a day earlier. You hear a witness describe a flash that might be a tree falling on a power line.
It's windy, and then there's a flash, and I think that's when a tree's falling on a power line. The power goes out.
One expert saying those videos taken in upcountry Maui show the flames spreading and maybe the first evidence of downed power lines igniting a fire.
Oh, this is live right across the street from my house. Freaking power line just went down. I hear a pop coming from across the street. As soon as I hear the pop, all I heard is like electrical, like just going on the ground there. Look, there's the power line right there. See them right there? That's the power line that started from up the road there. And all of that is still burning. From there, to me, it simulated a fuse, like somebody lit a fuse for a firework.
Experts say these 2 fires likely spread, causing the massive wildfire that destroyed the entire town. And within days of these 2 videos being shared, Hawaiian Electric shares lost half of their value, and dozens of Maui residents are now filing a class action lawsuit against them for being responsible for the fire. The company had tried cutting corners when it came to safety, and now it looks like they're going to be paying a whole lot more than $190 million anyways. And you would think that a massive company like this trying to cover up its responsibility for a wildfire would be the worst scandal to come out of all this. But you would be wrong, because it gets a whole lot worse. One of the scariest things about the Hawaii wildfire is just how quickly it spread, by 1 mile every minute. Once the fire reaches towns like Lahaina, it moves so quickly that there was little to no chance anyone could outrun it, which is why so many people ended up in the ocean to try to escape it.
Meanwhile, harrowing footage has emerged of a group of people forced to escape into the sea as the fires erupted all around them on Tuesday night.
With the fire spreading so quickly, every single second counts. Knowing about the fire a minute earlier could save dozens of lives. Unfortunately, with the power lines either failing or setting on fire, Hawaii's emergency text alert system failed. By the time the text came through telling people to evacuate, it was already too late. The fire had reached the town. If only there had been some way to warn Maui and Lahaina residents of the approaching blaze. Some sort of warning system that didn't rely on cell service. Except, there is an independent warning system that could have gotten people out of their homes earlier. It was just never used. As an island state, Hawaii has more than 400 hazard sirens all across the islands, the largest network in the world. According to the Hawaii Emergency Management Agency, the sirens are there to warn people of all sorts of disasters like tsunamis, wildfires, flooding, and terrorist attacks. 80 of these sirens are located on Maui, and many of them are in or around Lahaina. But when it came time to warn people about the fires, the alarms never went off. Instead, the only warning people got of impending doom was a massive cloud of black smoke over the town. But by then, it was already too late for many people. People were furious. Weren't the sirens there for a reason? Why didn't they use them if they knew there was a fire coming? What was the point of putting up all these sirens if you were never going to use them? It turns out the sirens never being used is all thanks to one guy, Maui Emergency Management Administrator Herman Andaya. According to him, he never approved the sirens being used because he believed that people would think it was a tsunami warning and that they would head to the mountains, which would have been directly into the fire. Which sounds reasonable. You have been warning Maui residents of powerful winds and wildfires for weeks, but when the sirens go off, they're definitely gonna only think that it's for a tsunami and head directly towards the black smoke. And even if people thought it was a tsunami warning at first, all it would take was them walking outside and seeing all the black smoke in the sky. That was the official reason the sirens never went off. But over the next few days, a whole lot of other excuses came out as well. Some of the sirens were broken and wouldn't work, or some of the sirens had never been activated and wouldn't work at all, which made the entire story very hard to believe. If they really didn't want people to run towards the fire, towards the mountains, why would they be making all these other excuses as well? Something did not feel right. But the icing on the cake was that days after the fire started, the stand-up guy Herman Andaya, who was in charge of turning the sirens on, decided to resign from his position due to health reasons. So an electric company starts a massive fire, the people in charge never used the warning system created specifically for a situation like that, but if you thought that was the end, you were once again sadly mistaken. Because as Maui burned to the ground, it didn't take long for big businesses and investors to see a golden opportunity. The Maui fires had not even been 100% contained when the first solicitations came through.
Some of the things that's already been happening is realtors are calling families who lost everything, offering them to buy their property and their home for pennies on the dollar. So it's pretty offensive to us that people won't even give us the time to grieve properly. And people's mental health has been diminished in all of this. They've lost everything. People have lost family members. And for them to have that disrespect to come in and already try and buy things up is out of control.
With thousands of homes being burnt down, it seemed like an easy deal. It was going to take months, even years for these homes to be rebuilt. In the meantime, thousands of people had just lost everything. Their homes, their cars, all their possessions. So why not go in and offer them a few $100,000 for land that you know is worth millions? In a situation like this, it's easy to see why people would have no choice but to sell. They have no home, they have no clothes or food. They desperately needed the money. For the people of Maui, the fires were a devastating disaster, but for investors and real estate developers, it was the perfect opportunity to make millions. All they would have to do is buy the land from homeless Hawaiians, rebuild luxury homes and hotels on that land, and then sell it to billionaires and millionaires looking for a holiday home or a beach house. And they've gone to extremes to get people to sell. Quote, there are still bodies being pulled out of water outside of Maui, and you suddenly get a call or a message on Facebook saying we want to buy your property, end quotes. It's gotten so bad that the governor of Hawaii is even considering suspending the housing market to stop people from selling their land out of desperation. So what is the lesson from this? Is that when disaster strikes, you gotta be right there checkbook in hand, waiting to submit an offer on some prime oceanfront real estates. And you want to know what else is eerily suspicious? How in the span of around 3 decades, more than 50 people connected to Bill and Hillary Clinton have died. 50 people! And you want to know what's even more suspicious? Is that all 50 of these people didn't die from natural causes. Oh no, each of these 50 people all died in one of the 3 ways. Suicide, plane crash, or robbery gone wrong. Just those 3. And these are not just random people. No, these are people who all had the power to ruin the public image of the Clintons. These are people that could have linked the Clintons to scandals. And now magically, all of them died. And what's even crazier is that most of these deaths magically came to an end after Clinton left the White House. And we expose it all in our new private documentary, The Clinton Kill List, that you can watch right now by clicking the join button below. This one is very damning and you are not going to want to miss it. And by the way guys, I've realized that although our YouTube membership has been pretty controversial, I don't think it's been controversial enough. So we're really stepping on the gas, and we're only doing private documentaries from now on that have the potential for me to be cancelled or suicided like this one. Once a month, maybe even more in the future that you're definitely not going to get anywhere else. We've got a really exciting one coming out soon on how if a certain German man with a small mustache actually offed himself, wink wink, stay tuned. We've got ones on Jeffrey Epstein, the CIA's disturbing mind control experiments, and many, many more. So click the join button below or click the card on the screen to watch the Clinton Kill List now.